I'd like to welcome Eric Boyd and Susan Etlinger to the show, and you're here to give us some key building blocks with AI. Let's start with the first question. Obviously, the tech is awesome, but there's a lot of other things that get involved with this. It's been a year since ChatGPT came out. What's new?
Man, it's been so exciting in this past year, and it's almost crazy to think about that it's just been a year since ChatGPT. It was December of last year, and since then at Microsoft, we've just infused this technology into so many of our products. Microsoft Copilot and Dynamics and GitHub, and all across the full spectrum of things that we do. But then we've also made all of that available to our customers through Azure, and so the Azure AI Studio, where you can come and get all of these different tools together to go and build your own copilots. And we've seen so much momentum from customers really going and working as fast as they can to go and build this. So the pace of innovation has really never been higher than anything I've seen in my career.
Yeah, it's been really fast, and sometimes organizations are having a hard time adapting. You recently created a white paper to help with that. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So, we've all been just dealing with the reality of what's happened in the past year. And there's a shift, though, that we're seeing. And the shift is from what is happening to sort of how do I, as a customer, derive value from AI? And so several of us at Microsoft have been thinking a lot about how can we help customers through this change? And one of the things that we've been doing is collecting some insights from customers, from partners, from internal and external experts on what they see as those levers that help drive value and momentum and accelerate that time to value. So we collected this into a white paper, at least the beginnings of it, and created kind of a framework where we're looking at the different stages of evolution that we see some customers in, and then also the different pieces that kind of make up that journey. And so it's things like your business strategy, it's things like your technology and data strategy, your organization and culture, your AI experience, and your AI strategy overall, because there's so many different, it's a set of technologies. And then finally, AI governance, which is your security posture and your data privacy and responsible development and deployment of AI. So the interesting thing about it is what we're seeing is that there's no one journey for anybody, right? It depends on where you are, what kind of company you are, and all those things. And at the same time, there's certain themes that are kind of eternal no matter where you are, right?
That's cool. And so you deal with customers a lot because in the AI engineering group, how does this stuff resonate with you? What are you seeing?
It totally resonates. I mean, as we talk to customers, they're all going through different journeys and sort of different paces. And, when we look at what are the things that customers are doing to be successful, I even get asked a lot, what are the most successful companies in this space doing? And so we see that they've got a lot of it is the right mindset, right? That they're thinking about how can I build a product and iterate on it and experiment and sort of measure the way that these things are improving, because these products are different than traditional products, right? If you want to go and build a feature, typically you go build it, you test it, and you see, did this work or did it not? Now what you need to do is, these models are answering questions for you, and so the relevance of each question is different, so you have to keep sort of experimenting to see how that's working. And so we see successful companies, they start with just a simple model that they want, a simple application that they want to try, and then they build out and expand from there. And a key thing, though, is just having that mindset of we're going to learn and we're going to experiment with this. That's the thing that really makes them successful.
And that's cool because, we're talking about this AI technology. It's like other technologies, but actually also radically different. What tips do you have for organizations as they make a cultural shift to this stuff as well? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So again, a lot of it really depends on where you are. So if you're just starting out with AI, what we're seeing is that what's most important for a lot of customers is just get in there and play with it. Get in there and experiment, start to build that sense of confidence, that organizational capacity for it. But as they go along, and as they move from proof of concept into production, they need to pay attention to, number one, the business goals that they're laddering to, right? Because you're going to hit that wall if you don't have those business goals articulated and know what you're solving for. And then the other thing is, of course, you need the infrastructure. And then all the way across, you need that leadership support because this is an organizational change management time as much as it is a time of just incredible technology innovation. And so bringing people along, especially given how much AI is becoming democratized across organizations, is so critically important.
Yeah, and this is one of the few times, and this is to you, Eric, this is one of the few times that I've seen a technology come out and the general non-technical population was like, okay, tech people, we want this in our stuff as well.
Right.
And it feels backwards, and I've never seen this in my career. How are organizations adapting to these new experiences that people want to have? And how can you instill confidence that these experiences will work for companies?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, this is the first technology that I can talk to both my children and to my parents about. And they both understand, oh, yes, we've seen that. And they both played with it and used it. And so it's so pervasive across society so quickly. And so now as companies are trying to deploy this, a lot of companies have concerns about, oh, I got to make sure that my data is going to be protected, or that I'm going to, stay on my brand and on my message. And so those are some of the things that we work really hard to help companies sort of understand. When they're working with Azure AI, their data is their data. It stays locked in their tenant and sort of never leaves it. And then we bring the Azure Content Safety System, which really helps them, have all the knobs and dials that they may want to make sure that they're building really safe, secure systems. And so just trying to give them that comfort that, yeah, you're on the cutting edge, but you can do it in a way that's going to be safe and on the message that your brand is trying to achieve.
And that's a good segue. We have a couple of minutes left. What are some things orgs can do starting today to take advantage of this opportunity in AI and to really give the people what they want? Susan.
Yeah, for sure. So, the first thing I would say is take a look at the assessment and just start to answer some of those questions, because, there's a lot in there that I think will validate the strategies that companies are already taking, but there's a lot of insights in there as well. And particularly, given where you are in your point in time, given what's important to you and how much progress you've made, there are going to be different decision points at decision times, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, this is as much about people and organizations as it is about the technology, and particularly with content safety. We're dealing on a regular basis with questions that organizations have never had to ask before, right? And so there's that sense of talking to the folks in the business and, and starting to build those stakeholder relationships, because those stakeholders are now going to be users of this technology in a way that is very, very different from the ways that we have done that in the past. So building that kind of tight connection between the business and the technology organization is so critically important. And then the last thing, I think, is never to take your eye off the ball with regard to that leadership vision, because, ultimately all of these technologies, no matter how brilliant, are only as good as the people and the processes and the ways in which they're implemented. And so knowing what you're solving for and knowing kind of which direction you're going in and what you're trying to do while keeping that sense of adventure is just so important.
What about you, Eric? 3 things companies can do?
Yeah, the first thing is to get started.
Yeah.
You need to sort of get in the game and try something. And we have a wide variety of options. You can start by playing with Microsoft Copilot. You can use a low-code, no-code studio in Copilot Studio, or you can go all the way to the full developer experience in Azure AI Studio. But start building something and find an application where you'll really start to learn and see this is what's working, this is what's not working, and these are the things I need to sort of figure out a bit more. So that's the first thing that I would tell most companies to do, is you gotta get in the game. Beyond that, then you really have to start to iterate and learn, right? You have to try different things and sort of experiment and just keep learning to see what's gonna work specifically for your application. But making sure that you can combine all of these different technologies to empower everyone in your organization is probably the third thing I'd say. Every part of your team should be working on how AI is gonna transform their business. If you just look at how Microsoft has responded, we've put this technology in literally everything that we do because we see its profound impact as that impactful. And so that's what I would encourage companies to think about. How do you get everyone in your organization lined up behind that?
All right, final question to you, Susan. Tell us about the white paper. Where can people find it?
Yeah, so there's going to be a QR code. You can scan it, you can download it, and we're also working on some other research to try to really deepen these insights and just share as much as we can from our own ecosystem so that everybody can kind of come along. So
Yeah, I love that. Like, I don't know if people know this, but we are taking this journey also inside of Microsoft, and there's a ton of learnings that we've had, and I'm glad we're putting some of this stuff together. So thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, Susan.
Yeah.
All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining us. To learn more, check out aka.ms/building-AI-success.